It's that simple. Stop feeling like you don't have power. Stop feeling pathetic and weak. Break out of your television-induced trance. It starts with a war growl. It starts with getting fired up, staring at yourself in the mirror and showing some teeth and saying, I'm a human being, I have dignity, I'm going to resist, I'm going to start recognizing the propaganda, I'm going to break free from it, I'm not going to fight with my family, I'm going to organize with my family and realize we're under attack by the social engineers, and I'm not going to fight with my neighbors, we're going to organize. Humanity's going to come together. Globalists are pouring on all the heat they can, pushing their hive mind, Borg, collectivist, zombie public system. So we are in an absolute pitch battle. We are swinging muskets here, toe-to-toe with the globalists. They're bloodied, we're bloodied. It is absolute, total war.
We are engaged in an information war because it's real news. You may not agree with it, but you feel like you're getting real news around the clock instead of a million commercials and, you know, arguments between talking heads and the kind of stuff that we do on our news, which, you know, is not particularly informative to us, let alone foreigners.
This is a situation that has the potential for a nuclear catastrophe.
And here's the biggest news. Here's the biggest news right now. Then I'm going to Japan, and your phone calls, Sheldon and others. Pressure at damaged Japanese nuclear reactor rising with fears. So the pressure is rising. They got 6 nukes at that one facility. They're all huge. The #1 reactor, the others are malfunctioning, but still up and cooling. The temperature will rise and rise and rise and rise and rise, and then the rods will set on fire, and then they will burn out of their casings, and they will plunge into the floor, and they will melt through the concrete, and then they will explode. And then they will shoot radiation into the atmosphere. This is going to affect us, too. If it melts down and explodes, it's going to eject incredibly radioactive isotopes right into the jet stream, and they're going to orbit the Earth for the next 4 billion years or so. Those towers are 1,000+ feet tall. We looked it up. So within seconds, 1,000-foot tall explosion, a giant containment facility going sky high at the reactor #1. And then the media said, gee, do you think there's going to be a bigger problem now at the plant? I don't know. It just completely explodes, many times bigger than Chernobyl, right in front of you. And they're picking up 1,000+ times the radioactive isotopes, 100% associated with meltdown.
A further explosion has rocked Japan's quake-damaged Fukushima nuclear power complex in the northeast of the country. The blast happened in the plant's #3 reactor. 9 people are said to have been injured. The explosion appears to have been more violent than the first, which happened 2 days ago in reactor #1. It's not clear if the blast has caused a radiation leak.
Talk about other people having state-run media. We have state-run media. It's just foreign banker-run through the state. I mean, it's ridiculous.
They're liars. All they're doing is what every prostitute does. They serve their masters.
Oh, boy. Well, it's a toxic chemical, and now the Food and Drug Administration is allowing it to be used in baby formula. Yeah, the FDA is setting a new safety threshold saying trace amounts of melamine can be used in baby milk.
Mercury-containing vaccines may help, not harm kids, according to 2 new studies in the journal Pediatrics. There have been widespread concerns that mercury-based preservatives in vaccines might impair the neurological development of children. These new studies suggest that the opposite, that the preservatives may actually be associated with improved behavior and mental performance.
First, the U.S. has been adding fluoride to its public water supply for decades, and that's, of course, to prevent tooth decay. Well, now researchers from Japan are suggesting that we add lithium. So why is that?
Well, they're actually not suggesting it, but they're certainly looking into it.
Most of us grew up with the idea that more fluoride meant better teeth. And health officials believe that putting fluoride in water is one of the top 10 public health accomplishments of the last century. But new studies now say that too much fluoride is damaging the teeth of more than 1 in 3 teens. So for the first time in nearly 50 years, the federal government is reversing course and recommending less fluoride in water.
But you are not down on radiation poisoning.
Well, it's not me. I'm citing a stunning number of physicists, and from the New York Times and the Times of London, there's a growing body of evidence that radiation in excess of what the government says are the minimum amounts you should be exposed to are actually good for you and reduce cases of cancer.
Months into this, how did the EPA respond? And you can go to the articles on our sites and link through the EPA. They came out and said, we're going to raise radioactive isotopes in the dozens of types that are in the air rolling across the Pacific onto the U.S. We're going to raise the isotopes levels. That's just one of many explosions. We're going to raise it from the levels that we say were safe to 1,000 times what they previously were, with some isotopes to 25,000 with others, and some isotopes 100,000 times what they previously said was safe. The government always lies, is the point. They lie up front and don't want to tell you what's happening.
So we are in an information war, and we are losing that war. I'll be very blunt in my assessment.
Nobody in the United States anywhere has done more to show what's going on than you have, about breaking it down piece by piece, from that little weasel Chertoff, the former Homeland Security czar, going out after the so-called Christmas Day bomber was going to explode his underwear, and making the rounds on the major media and telling us that we needed these full-body X-ray machines, not ever divulging that Chertoff Group was the consulting firm for Rapid Scam that sells these things. So you've done more than anybody, and what this is so important about, it's one of those elements in the coming Second American Revolution.
Expeditious coordination with our national security partners is not to be underestimated. There have been numerous cases where our unilateral and uncoordinated revocation of a visa would have disrupted important investigations that were underway by one of our national security partners. They had the individual under investigation, and our revocation action would have disclosed U.S. government's interest in that individual and ended our colleagues' ability, such as the FBI, to pursue the case quietly and to identify terrorist plans and co-conspirators.
They yell at you, they put you in boxes. I mean, the goons doing it don't know why they're doing it, but the social engineers know this is an act of submission. This is learning how to be a prisoner.
Whole citizen journalism is going to be a huge trend, because just as they're watching us,
police tracking your every move with GPS technology, they don't even need a search warrant. It's happening right now in Wisconsin. Is it legal? And is this just the start of things to come? What the heck happened to your right to privacy?
Now we're watching them. People have their cell phone cameras. People are taking videos and recording things that they never wanted exposed before.
Oh, that's key. That's why they're pushing so much now in 9,000 locations to get us to spy on each other, because they don't want us to start surveilling and watching and exposing them.
To call what I did a crime is ridiculous. Michael Allison publicly recorded law enforcement in Robinson, Illinois. This reporter and photographer were arrested for recording police. The charges in both cases were dropped. Michael Allison's attorney told the judge their case should be dismissed instead of going to trial. They argue it's unconstitutional that law enforcement can record citizens in public or even in the courtroom, but not the other way around.
TV satellite signals were jammed and internet access was blocked for nearly the entire population.
So this is America.
The government
This is America.
Guys in Washington are now trying to deny the Chinese resources the way the United States and Britain did to Japan in the 1930s, thus creating World War II in the Pacific. So what the Libya thing is about is canceling out China's economic penetration of Africa, canceling out China's massive energy investments in eastern Libya, by overthrowing the regime and thereby eliminating China from the Mediterranean. So it becomes imperative to overthrow the Syrian regime in order to get Russia out of the Mediterranean as well. So I see all of this leading to a massive war.
This video taken back in November by a California TV station, which captured a similar image showing what looks like a missile launch off the coast. The sighting made national attention. However, some believe it was nothing more than contrail from a passing jetliner. Is that what this could be in this case?
That's something weird. I don't even know if it's military, is it?
So you can see the same sort of power play that backfired against the Japanese and resulted in Pearl Harbor, now being employed against the Chinese in Libya. And it will also be used against the Chinese in Angola and Nigeria, where they also have energy investments.
Low Earth orbit satellites have become indispensable for the U.S. military for communications, for GPS navigation to guide smart bombs and troops, and for real-time surveillance. But they are also extremely vulnerable, as a just-revealed test of a satellite-killing weapon by China ominously demonstrates.
If we, for instance, got into a conflict over Taiwan, one of the first things they'd probably do would be to shoot down all of our low Earth orbit spy satellites, putting out our eyes.
According to U.S. government officials, after 3 misses, China last Thursday succeeded in shooting down one of its own aging weather satellites with a medium-range ballistic missile fired from the ground.
You see all of this leading towards the first great war of the 21st century?
As Gerald Celente says,
they have built behind government and corporate reservation walls in their laboratories, in their bunkers, a lot of secret technologies.
The pictures apparently shot from a passing car have become an online sensation. Another YouTube clip filmed during daylight shows a fuzzy grey object on the skyline near Red Square.
The facility itself is for the research. It's not an operational thing to communicate with anyone.
I understand pure research. What about other countries, the Russians, the Chinese, the European Union? Do they have similar programs, Doctor?
The European community has a facility in Tromsø, Norway. It's part of what they call the ice jet community there that actually was a facility like HARP that's been around a lot longer than HARP to do the same kind of relative kind of research to understand the physics and chemistry and radio wave interactions.
It happened on 9/11. I believe today it was not a controlled demolition, it was not nanothermite, and it certainly was not the pancake effect of 2 planes hitting a building. There was something else in play there, Alex. There was a weapon in play that day that I don't even know what it is, but I can equate it to being like a microwave. Those towers literally disintegrated. They went into dust.
Why is DARPA and the Pentagon suppressing so many of the technologies that they developed decades ago? And we know that they do that. Well, it's very simple. There's a lot of reasons, but they want to have the sneak attack capability on the few enemies they've got left. They also like to keep large areas of what's happening secret from the American people.
There's always been a talk about Project Bluebeam, and that is a false flag, a UFO invasion to get us all riled up so the New World Order can do what they want to do. You're aware of it, I'm aware of it, and I think we need to constantly watch that possibility.
All through history, the way of truth and love has always won. There have been tyrants and murderers, and for a time they can seem invincible, but in the end they always fall. Think of it. Always.
You think I'm violent, but listening you will find my lethal weapon's my mind.